Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on trying to build an enclosure in 3D software for this Xbox controller that we are trying to make from scratch. We're not farming the silicon, but we are basically trying to write controller firmware, make a PCB, make a controller housing, 3D print it, and turn it into, something that I can use in real life, right? And this all started because I have this controller here. May I go full cam for this? I have this controller here, and he's got a couple paddles on the back, right here and right here. And it really bothers me that the controller paddles are mapped in firmware to only be other buttons on the face, right? Which means that if I want to map them to do something like push to talk, I can't do that. And so we started by trying to look at the controller firmware and seeing if we could reverse engineer it or something. But we realized that that's a lot of work, and we might as well just make a controller from scratch, because forward engineering, very cool. Reverse engineering, also very cool, but forward engineering would be cool. And I think the skills that come with being able to print a thing and get the PCB and stick it all together, I think that's a more fun set of skills to have. And so that brings us to today. What am I looking at here? Well, yesterday I bought some Crayola clay for children. It said on the box, Crayola clay for children, good for classroom projects, which is, fuck you. But also, I just kind of started sticking together something that I thought fits good in my hand. The important thing that I noticed was on this controller, the real one, I actually can't reach the back paddle with my right hand, because I found out that the way I hold the controller is how do I show this? I kind of grip the left hand like this, but the right hand, it doesn't hold it like this like you would think. It kind of wraps around up a little bit like this. And the reason I do that is so that I can get kind of good mobility on the right stick. Oh, it's kind of backwards, which is confusing, right? So if it's kind of down here, I have to stretch really far to get to the left, which is fine, I can reach it, right? But in terms of accuracy, the right thumb is kind of the most important when I'm playing a shooter, right? So I end up kind of rotating my hand a little bit like this, and my palm actually doesn't touch this face at all. Almost claw, but not quite. I don't want to wrap my fingers up here. This is uncomfortable, so I don't do this. But I do wrap my hand up. And so I realized that I don't really need this right nub down here, right? It's just not there. And then the other thing I noticed was I was basically the whole reason I did this was to try to figure out comfortable placement for the back paddles. So I was just kind of moving the clay around until I kind of found where I want my fingers to sit, and it actually ends up kind of looking like this, right? So I have kind of slots for each of my fingies, and then I think what I want is triggers that kind of activate like this, the same as these two triggers do, but for these fingers as well. And I found this is really comfortable hand placement. I've never seen a controller that looks like this, but it feels pretty good to me. So I figure let's try to see if we can make this thing printable and maybe try to figure out if those button placements are reasonable, right? I didn't really take into account anything about where the electronic components will go. I haven't thought about that at all. But I feel ergonomics starting there makes sense, and then working our way back to button placement and stuff, PCB design. I think that makes more sense. I kind of just slapped some little dollops of clay where I thought the buttons would go. I kind of moved the start and select buttons over to the right side because I don't like pressing any buttons with my left hand really. I find that I actually stretch my right thumb over to press the D-pad a lot in games where I need the extra buttons. So the other thing that was important was kind of I needed to be able to slide my hand from this position to this. I actually hold my controller like this a lot too, right? Because when I'm reaching over to the D-pad, how do I fucking show this? It's I'm stretching like this, right? Ugh. Ugh. So that was the other thing I was thinking about. Do I play fighting games? No, I play shooters mostly. I basically only play Fortnite. I guess I play Dota, but not on controller. Anyways, I think that's all the background we need. I 3D scanned this. I just downloaded like Epic's 3D scanning app and just like walked around. That's got to be the most deranged way of using controller I've ever seen. Hey, dude, have you looked up claw players? Those guys are fucked up, dude. Claw controller. Dude, this is way more deranged. People do double claw where they hold like both their fucking fingers up on top. Dude, look at this shit. You're telling me this is way more deranged than what I'm doing. And this is like what you have to do if you want to play Fortnite without paddles. Like, you kind of have to do this shit. I take it all back. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I downloaded like the Epic 3D scanning software and just walked around my like I stuck the controller on the table and just walked around it a little bit, and it's pretty impressive. Like what comes out of this thing. Like this is pretty damn accurate. You can even see like the little bumps of the little dollops of clay I put on to mark where I want the buttons to go. I think that's pretty fucking cool. Pretty fucking cool. But anyways, I guess we should start. What's like step 1 here? I guess it's probably to merge the front and back scans together. That's probably step 1. So I guess we probably want to ditch all of the table. No paddles? Have we gone full circle? No. I have no. We're going to put paddles here. Sorry, it looks way better if we put the texture on. We're going to put paddles here, and here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just saying like claw players are normal but crazy. That was all I was trying to say there. Okay, yeah, so let's start by trying to like take away the table. Is this scan with one of those 3D camera model apps things? Yeah, just like the Epic Games one. It's honestly a very impressive piece of software. I don't really know how they did it. They like, you kind of just like take your phone and you just walk around and it knows where your phone is in 3D space. That's the part I don't really understand. I understand like how if they knew where your phone was in 3D space, they could like correlate points from each picture and like eventually figure out where they are relative to your 2 images. Right? And then you would get like a 3D point. But I don't understand how they know where the camera is. They must be doing something very clever when you're walking around with the thing. Okay. Anyways, we've been talking too much. Let's like delete the table, I guess. So can we just do like, I think probably the back of the controller will end up being got by the other model, but I guess deleting too much is not ideal, so maybe we just do this for now. Why are... Oh, oops. Yeah, fuck it. That's fine. And then do we keep the texture mapping when we do this, or does it get all fucked up? Oh, nice. It does keep it. That's good. Good job, Blender. Good job. Oopsies. We don't have to be perfect, I guess. This is unnecessary, but you know. Alright. That's good enough for now. It's a combination of image pixel triangulation and gyroscope data. Yeah, I guess the gyroscope makes a lot of sense. And then they're just they're like kind of using the gyroscope to get a feel for how much you moved. But like, how do they know that you can't use the image data? I guess if you're using like parallax effect in some way, so you're like seeing how far something far away moved and something close moved, and then you're guessing how far those are apart and using that to track the camera position or something. That's pretty crazy. I don't know anything about game development, but I'm a software engineer, web system developer. Is it true that game development is more designer than programmer? I don't know, dude. I've never made a game in my fucking life. I don't know shit. But, I mean, yeah, I think a thing that looks and plays good is much more important than a thing that... Like, I guess you need both, right? But I don't think you could make a game without being, like, an artistic person at all. Or you would need to, like, you know, pay someone to be your artistic direction. I imagine phones with multiple cameras could also benefit from angle change. Yeah, that makes sense. Any ref points like barcode? No, no. Although I did work somewhere where we did a little bit of 3D. We had fixed point cam or fixed cameras where we knew their positions relative to each other, and we would, as part of calibration to figure out where the cameras were, we definitely used markers and stuff like that. But that was, yeah, in this app you just fucking just start going. It was very impressive. Yes, if I'm correct, OpenCV has a tutorial for that, using the parallax of two photos to understand how to move and getting three projections from it. Yeah, I guess it's taking like a fuck ton of photos, so it can use all of the other photos to kind of correct its mental model as it goes. Anyways, it's like very impressive. I think the math there must be quite difficult, but very cool. Set origin to center of mass. And then can we go to this guy? Set origin to center of mass. Do we do volume on the other one? I think we did. And then I guess we want to... Huh. The origin's still over here. Oh, there we go. I guess I just didn't do it. Okay. Clear... Or oops, fuck. Clear location. And then we clear location on both. And then we go to them, and now they're overlapping. Hype. And I guess we just try to position these guys so that they look about right. I guess probably it's important for us to like measure as well later, but for now let's just kind of I don't know. We'll eyeball it first and then figure it out from there. This guy wants to be rotated like this, probably. I think he wants to be rotated this way as well a little bit. And then are there any like markers that we can use? Like these bumps probably should be lining up. Probably. Right, like kind of like this. What about on this side? Do we have any markers? Seems like the whole thing should be kind of rotated this way a little bit. To kind of make this line up a little better. And then on this side, bumps gotta line up again. Almost, maybe like a little rotation back. Kind of like there. Yeah, maybe. Let's kind of delete some of the more of the like garbage mesh pieces in here. Right, can we just like kind of, I don't know. I guess just delete these vertices, these like really sparse ones. These are probably just like, you know, the table and shit. Like it's like trying to merge. There we go, that probably looks a little better. I guess there's probably a few more to delete over here on this side. Sure. Looks like bread dough. Yeah, dude, for real. How's that looking? It looks okay, except I think that either the scale of the back is wrong. Like, what's going on here? Also, can we turn on a back? I want to see the back face. There we go. Can we do it on this one as well? Okay. So, like, you know, this guy's kind of like wrapping around. Like, does this just need to kind of come in like this? Does it match up better on this side? Yeah, I guess that kind of looks about right, huh? These bumps are kind of lining up. I guess you could probably maybe do like a little bit of this. And then over here, how we looking? I mean, that's like, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're going for like I mean, because the whole controller is like looks like shit, right? But starting somewhere reasonable makes sense. Okay, so let's do some measurements here. So if I like measure across the diameter between the sticks, I'm seeing like maybe on the order of like 13 centimeters, probably like 13 and a half bump to bump. So that should be like kind of here to here should be like 13 and a half centimeters, which that says 13.5, which is pretty fucking sick. And then maybe like let's try to see if we got like the size correct here. So if I measure maybe like at under the stick on the edge, I'm seeing like the left stick on the edge, I'm seeing like on the order of maybe if I were to project, this is really hard to measure. Maybe I'll look at the trigger first. Left trigger, I'm seeing like just over 40 millimeters. I should get a fucking caliper. Okay, so left trigger here, I'm seeing like 40 millimeters, like here. Which, that's about right. That's about right. And then if we look at the other trigger here, right trigger, I'm seeing like, again, 40 millimeters. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. If we're a couple millimeters off in a couple spots, it won't fucking matter. Don't say it looks like your moldy banana bread. That's disgusting. Yeah, that's on the order of 40 millimeters as well. Sick. Sick. All right. Dude, don't, that's so gross. That's, I just, also, like, is your banana bread white? My banana bread was always brown. Maybe, what the fuck does banana bread look like? Am I crazy? If your banana bread's turning white, that's disgusting. Yeah, this is what I remember that shit looking like. The mold makes it white. That's don't gross, guys. Yours are fucking nasty. All right. I guess we have Xbox controller model from last time, our completely failed attempt. Xbox controller model, better. That's a good name for this. Oh, they said banana. That makes a lot more sense. I just like made up some words. Merge scans dot blend. All right, sick. So I guess Xbox controller moldle. Good one. Okay. So I guess now we try to turn this into something that's like not made of that many polygons. Oh, by the way, you know the other day we were modeling an OpenSCAD and I was like, this feels wrong and it's shit. You know, also, you know that meme where you're like, if you want help with Linux, you just say, don't ask for help because you'll be told to read the fucking manual. But if you say Linux can't do something, then you get a lot of help from angry people on the internet. Dude, the comment section in this video is just everyone telling me how to use CAD software. This is sick. I found the next fucking level of this. You just do something poorly, and the internet will tell you, will be like, they'll have so much pain watching you be shit that they'll tell you exactly how to fix it, which is awesome. So, anyways, people in the comments confirmed my suspicion that, this, like, the shell is likely, I think that, like, there's this thing called, like, organic modeling. Organic modeling is, like, for stuff that's basically not, like, made out of squares and circles, right? And so, my suspicion from the start was, like, Blender seems like the right tool. Now, I don't understand why you want to make a new controller if yours looks like this. No, this is the better version. This is the perfect controller right here. You're confused. But, yeah, my suspicion from the start was that Blender is the right tool to model something like this guy for the outside, and then CAD software you could kind of use for, like, the inside. And people in the comments were definitely confirming that. They're like, dude, just use Blender. Like, use Blender for the shell. Definitely don't use like primitive shapes to try to make a shape like that. But so I think what we'll do is try to model the outside approximately. I don't know. I might want like the paddles to be done in CAD so that I can like easily adjust them. Not sure. Which model is like... The front model needs to be pruned a little more. Hold on. I'm getting distracted, but shit's got to get fixed. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I think I'm gonna use Blender for the shell. The paddles I might end up using CAD software for because I might want to like adjust their positions and stuff. But we will see. All right, how's that look? Some of the here as well. All of this stuff needs to go. Basically, anywhere where the mesh is not dense is probably not meant to be, you know? It'll be covered by the other side. All right. Is that a little better? Yeah, that's a little better. I guess here it still looks like shit as well. But again, there I'm less concerned about like losing detail. These trigger placements, this is like important. Is this a 3D scan of your clay model? Yeah. It's perfect. All right. How do we want to? Do I want to like get in it this folder and like probably right, and then like have like a history of this shit so that when I like fuck it up, we don't lose everything. Merged scans. Probably. I mean, I know this is like you're not supposed to use Git for this, but also, who cares? All right, cube. Shrink this bad boy down. Does that look like a dinosaur head to anyone besides me? I was thinking that the back. I was thinking these look like ribs. All right. Boom. 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 Oops. Let's do this. Extrude, kind of like this. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's just get a little bit of a coarse shape going, and then we can kind of refine as needed. Sure. Sure. Boom. 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 All right. And we bring it in. Boom. Wow, it's perfect. Okay. Oh, oops. Some of these guys I was scaling in Y as well. I didn't mean to, or Z as well. I didn't really mean to do that, but fuck it, whatever. We can fix as needed. Okay, I guess maybe we bring everything down, and then we bring everything at the top kind of down as well. Just fuck it. Maybe we kind of like scale relative on Z, relative to the cursor. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I think I'm kind of okay with the front face being like totally fucking flat, to be honest. I'm like looking at this thing like up in my eyeballs. You should make it look like this. I see what you're saying. So like his body is kind of down here. Yeah, I can kind of see it. So it's kind of interesting in my scan, the whole thing is kind of sloped down here, but to my eyeballs, when I look at this thing, it looks like kind of flat to me. I wonder if it's just because in my eyeball, like in my eyeballs, the whole thing's like rotated a little bit. We could try that. If we like add a empty here, and then we kind of parent both segments of the mesh to that empty, then we can like rotate the empty until this looks flat. Yeah, I think I'm just holding it in my eyeballs like this, which makes sense. So that means that kind of on the bottom side, it's kind of drooping down more as it gets closer to the back triggers, which makes sense because those fingers are longer, I guess. Oops, I just dropped something important. I dropped one of the stickies. 1 sec. Oopies. Oopies. Yeah, that looks. It's also kind of hard to see because of the. Yeah, I think that looks about right. I guess we can do this as well. Yeah, okay, that looks like how I understand it to be. Oopsies. Can I get rid of those measurements? X, X. What's wrong, sir? What's wrong with your child? He's not like the others. Yeah, but I think that's fine. Cause like, what if I'm gonna make my own controller? I might as well make it so that it feels good to me. You know? You know? Okay. Can we do something like this? And then what's like my average Z here? Just kind of even that shit out. Can I like, how do I fix this? I guess I scale in Z and set the Z scale to 0. Now they're all perfectly flat. Nice. Then we can kind of figure out the corners as we need. Maybe here? Maybe like this whole thing needs to be rotated a little bit back as well. Oopsie, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Yeah, maybe like here? That kind of lines up best, I think. I'm really like not that super worried about like the front. I feel like when I'm playing it with my thumbs, I have like a lot of wiggle room in like where the buttons are and stuff. The stick placement is pretty important, but other than that, it feels kind of natural. And then looking at the PCB from the controller I took apart. Let's see. One sec. So like looking at this PCB, ooh, you know, like the sticks are just like on a flat board here, right? So knowing that they're on the same plane means that the front face can all be on the same plane as well with no big dealio. So I think that this is fine. I think. Okay. I guess maybe there. Let's try to trace that. Okay. I guess we probably need like some resolution this way. Okay. And then what do we do here? We just kind of trace. What's going on here? I don't like the way that like any of these these things look. All right. There, maybe something like that. Okay, and then we can kind of make it look a little bit more round on the edge here. I guess we could do like that project trick. How do you do that? It's like face project here, where we're just like, boop. That's not working. We have to click this button. Yeah, there we go, baby. Let's do some fucking projecting. Hooah. Hooah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ugh. 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 Boom. Boom. All right. Cool. I guess we probably need more resolution kind of this way. Oopsies. There we go. I wonder what happens if you apply quad remesh to the high poly model. Yeah, maybe that is just a better way to start. I think that I think that it would make something that's like higher. I think I would need higher density than I want. I think I'd rather do it this way, even though it's kind of stupid. All right, so now we hide this. That's perfect. Okay, so like, I guess we kind of want to bring this stuff like kind of over. Hello. There we go. Oopsies. Is this is this engineering? All right. I mean, this just has to be even higher poly, right? I guess what happens if we subdivide this? Does that start to look like a little better? If we do like, because I don't really care how perfect it is, I don't think. I think I'm looking for an approximate shape right now. So maybe it makes sense to do something like this. Maybe. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, we very much, I think I want to kind of add in the bottom triggers kind of separately. I think. Which means like I need to get like a back plane that kind of works here. Oops. Yeah, so what am I gonna do here? It's gonna be like You know, something like this. Yeah, I guess kind of like that. I think that's kind of where we want all of the back faces to end up right now. So can we just start with that? So how is this cheese? Hell yeah. um, let's see this. I keep fucking taking out the measurement tool like a dumbass. I think that this is fine for us to just kind of yoink all these faces like this. Or all these verts. And then can we just like kind of look at it from the back and then turn on the magnet and move a little bit? Oh, fuck. Can we hide this? If we hide and then project? Nice. That's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so if we hide this plane now, then hide this, what does that look like? Nice. Nice. Okay, where does like the stick go here? We need to make sure that this part stays flat. And then I think ideally the buttons over here also stay flat. I think. Which means okay, so we need to think about like how my hand is gonna sit on this guy. Like it does need to be curved kind of like here where my palm is gonna go. I guess it like the whole point of the way I modeled this was that my palm doesn't touch there, right? I hold it like fuck, it's so hard to twist so that you guys can see. I hold like this. My palm is not touching. Oh my god, I dropped the fucking stick again. So I guess that means that like the rounding here matters because my knuckles here are going to be touching and I want that to feel okay. But yeah, I guess that's fine. So it just means that we want like some flatness where the buttons are going to go and then rounding after. Right, so it's kind of like this edge all needs to be brought up to the same z value as these guys. So these guys have a z of this. And I think like these vertices just need to also have that z value. Kind of like this. And then I think we just might need more. We might just need more resolution in this area, right? So that like we can kind of control where the curve starts to happen. Right? So like all of these guys should also have like oh, oops, we need to also do that scale z to 0 trick on kind of like all of these guys. And then set their z value to this again. Okay. Yeah, fuck it. Okay. Someone on YouTube made like they made their own gamepad, and a guy added like a trackball to it, so you could use the thumb and index finger to control the ball. So the ball was inside the gamepad and had touch on top and bottom. Oh yeah. I've seen that one. They do like they basically did something like this, right? They put the ball like through the controller, kind of like this, and then it like kind of pokes through on the bottom, and you can like kind of grip it like this and go like that, which is kind of cool. One thing I realized the other day about the Xbox controller is how garbage diagonal axes are for it. That might have also settings adjustments. Yeah, because I think my understanding of how it works right now is like I was looking inside these things the other day. So I think that there's like this like cube, right? And then the stick kind of pokes out here, right? And I think it's attached to like two gimbals. So there's kind of like one track that rotates this way, and then that track is like inside another gimbal that rotates this way. And I think that all it's doing is so I think that like this kind of goes down on, and it kind of has like a stick that comes out in each direction off the gimbal. And on normal controllers or on normal sticks, this like stick here connects to some like chunk of metal that looks like this, and like as you rotate, it kind of like it like scrapes up and down the track here. And what that means is if you complete a circuit with this, it means like the resistance goes up as you are, if you have like ground here, and like it's probably the other way around, right? It's probably like this is high voltage, 5 volts, and then this is grounded. Then the difference, like how much resistance there is between here, kind of changes as you. Actually, it's probably more like a 5-volt ground, and then it's probably like a voltage divider somehow. So maybe like a resistor here, and then resistor here, and then like another resistor here or something. I don't know exactly. But basically, like you somehow make it so that you have like more resistance as you slide along this thing. And so if the controller is just measuring the outputs of these two pots, then like you couldn't get diagonals that are as far, right? Because like if you're in a circle, like you can only ever get maximum distance at the very edges of the circle, right? So it depends on what the controllers are doing internally, right? But it just means that like here you can't get like +1+1. It's like impossible because you would need a square, right? It would be funny for us to make a square, but I think that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow the behavior of other controllers, right? Because games are designed with the way that the controller numbers come out. And so I'll probably just like look at the values when I spin my guy in a circle. You want Hall Effect? Hall Effects are goated. Yeah, I agree. I've actually bought Hall Effect enclosures, but I was just explaining, the default way first. With the Hall Effect sensors, instead you put a magnet on here, I think, and then something measures like the magnetic field as it goes by. I don't understand how those work as well, so I didn't want to explain those ones. I don't really know how like the chip that's sitting on the side here knows where it's going. You don't want +1+1 though. The length to be square root 2. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But I'm saying, yeah. I guess it depends on what you want. Like, I would think that you should, like, on a keyboard, you can move fully forward and fully right at the same time. And on a controller, you can't do that, is basically what I was trying to say. All right. Where are we at? It's perfect. We're done. Okay. So I think kind of like over here, kind of all of these guys need to kind of come like down a little bit. Where is my... There we go. Yeah, maybe like that. Boom. But then otherwise, I think we've got like the shape kind of down, right? I guess like in here, we need to get a little bit more out so that we have like the... space for the paddle shit. All right. Sure. Then paddle extrusions next, I guess. I don't know how I want to do these. So the important thing here is that like the buttons end up where my fingers would naturally land, right? So I need a pinky button here, ring finger buttons here, triggers here, and then bumpers here. Maybe I do front face buttons first because I don't want to think about it. You could sculpt it a bit, but I don't know if I have to. I guess this stuff, I do kind of want like softer edges kind of around here. Maybe like we kind of take this whole segment and kind of slide it up a little bit. Maybe like this segment, slide it up a little. And then here, I kind of want these guys to round out a little bit farther, probably. Probably for like comfort on the hand. We got to be careful about not going too far out relative to the initial controller, because button placement here was based off of where my left hand lands. So I probably actually want it to go the other way, where I kind of bring the other pieces in, right? It's probably more like I want like this to be like this. And that kind of means that all of these can kind of slide down a little bit. How's that look? Yeah, I mean, I guess this handle doesn't need any like flatness either. So we could kind of drop kind of these guys down as well without any consequence. Kind of like round it out a little bit more, which I assume will feel nicer in my hand. Looks like some steak. Dude, I always think about there was a show called The Ripping Friends that I used to watch on Teletoon nighttime TV. Holy shit, this show was so shit. It only aired for a year. That makes sense. It was really bad. But in this show, there was they had an episode where they had to help these cows out, and at the end, the cow just cuts a chunk out of his leg in like the classic like steak shape and just hands it to them. It's like, you can eat this now. And I think about that all the time. It's just like, what a fucking disgusting thing to put in your TV show. Yeah, that's pretty fine. We have to be careful about I need when I roll my hand like this, it needs to be like a smooth transition. Right? So we need to make sure that all of this stays round over here. But I think it's probably fine as is for now. It's perfect. Git status. Merge scans. And we'll call this, base shape. Okay. Let's just do button placement now because I want to. Maybe So I ordered some of these like thumbsticks, and I don't really know like what their dimensions are. I think I'm gonna have to measure it. Maybe we can use the Xbox controller model that I stole the other day. Maybe we can use this as like a reference for how big the holes should be and stuff. Now, this is obviously wrong scale. Having an edge that's not too sharp is not necessarily a bad thing. It helps with finding your way around the gamepad. Yeah, I agree. I think. That looks like it's the right size. So it's probably just using millimeters. So my stick placement compared to the original, actually, maybe there's like a little bit of rotation like this. Okay, so my stick placement here is a little fucked up, but that's fine. D-pad placement and button placement actually ended up very similar here. So it's only like my left stick placement that ended up in a fucking weird spot. But let me hold this in my hand. They both feel fine to me, which is interesting. I guess it's like I might just be rotating the full controller in my hand. Oh, I see what's happened here. On my controller, the tip of my thumb is ending up in the stick, and in the original Xbox controller, it's kind of like my like thumb knuckle is ending up in here. So that's why these ended up in different positions. But it is kind of interesting to see that the buttons overall ended up in almost the same spots, which is like a good sign. Is this fucked shape due to being Xbox and not having symmetry? So I think it's actually because my hand is too small. I think. It's because like I can't reach my thumb when I'm holding the Xbox controller properly. Let's bring this up. Like bringing this all the way over is like it's doable, but it's a little bit uncomfortable. And I feel like the accuracy on the left side here is like not good when I do this. So what I do is I pull my whole arm, my whole hand rotates so that I can be like right up on top of the stick, right? And so at that point, it's like my palm never touches the right arm here. And so the asymmetry is like totally fine by me. And then I considered bringing the right stick up to the corner here, right? To match the left one. I think that would feel better, but every controller in the world is stick to the bottom left of the buttons for the right stick. And so I'm like, I don't want to break that muscle memory. And then also I could bring the left stick down like on the PS4 or PS5 controllers to match, but then I press the D-pad with my right hand all the time. So I kind of want to keep it approximately the same. Okay, so we can use this guy as a little bit of a reference for how big our cuts need to be. The Xbox controller makes it hard with that A shape. Yeah, I mean, also like this gets in the way then, right? The right side. Steam Deck controller layout made me hate every other controller. What's a Steam Deck look like? Yeah, so I made a clay model of what I want the controller to look like, and then I 3D scanned it in with Epic Game software. Yeah, that's not too bad, I guess. I have one of these. It's just on here, I can't press the D-pad with my right again, and I do that all the time. So maybe that's just like maybe I should just stop doing that, but I don't want to. All right, cylinder, bring that shit down, baby. So we can assume that this cut is gonna look approximately like this. Can we maybe hide everything that's not? Why does it look like this? the fuck is going on? It is a circle, right? Am I stupid? I'm like having trouble finding where the cut is. Like, is it just me or is it hard to fucking see? Can we, like, highlight it or something? Is this like an edge loop that I can, like, feel out? That'd be kind of hype. But I guess we can just do this. And then duplicate. Yeah, maybe this is the way, actually. This is probably a better way than fucking making a new cylinder and matching. We just do this. Yeah, we just literally take. Oh, it's not straight is why. I see. Which is fine. I guess like their just whole surface is on an angle, which maybe ours should be too. I wonder if it will feel weird if we don't do that. That's like a real possibility, is that because this guy's like kind of angled a little bit, it might be more comfortable. Didn't I rotate it arbitrarily? Yeah, true. True. But it does, like, I do notice that, like, the whole front surface of this guy is. Oh, I guess, yeah, because we don't really know inside here how the PCB is laid out. So we're kind of working under the assumption that this guy is 90 degrees to the PCB. And so we should assume that the circle is also 90, like, parallel to the PCB. I think that makes sense. So can we, like, duplicate these points? And then split? What, Alt-P maybe? Oopsies. Separate selection. Okay, now we have a ring that we can work with. Nice. And now we can just kind of make a face in there and extrude. It's definitely not like circular. So I guess we do like we clean it up a little bit. We can say one of these guys is like make a sphere. To sphere. And we just kind of like drag make it as sphere as possible. Hype. And then extrude. There we go. I guess we don't have to be perfect either. Okay. So where do we go? This guy. We can use this guy now as a cutter for our guy. Kind of line it up with where this is supposed to be. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we make a hole, I guess. Sure. Sure. Add. Boolean. I wonder if I want to do this part in CAD. I probably do, right? I probably want to export. I probably want to export the body as is. Yeah. And then cut the holes in CAD because then we can like maneuver them around without like fucking everything up. So maybe we just kind of leave this almost as is, and then I guess maybe the paddles is like the thing that we should kind of sort out as well. Yeah. Sure, let's try that. Fuck it. I guess paddle and trigger. It's important. So, like, what the fuck am I looking at here? I don't really know how to do this, but I guess we can just kind of start and see what happens. Right? Um, I don't know, man. Okay, so these guys, probably we want to bring them, like, up like this. And then, I guess, actually, let me think about this. So I've just kind of, like, put clay on this thing, which means that this is where my fingers want to rest when the trigger is, like, out. Which means, like, what? There needs to be some sort of, like, button that is pressed here. And that has to press a button on the bottom of the PCB, probably. Which means that we're going to have some mechanism where, like, you know, you're going to have, like, something in... Something... Oh, fuck. Something, like, in here where I press this way and it generates upward force over here. Which means, like, maybe this thing is going to be, like, something that's, like, hooked on an axis here. And then when you push, it rotates around this point, and then this comes up or something? You know? And I guess all of that you want to design in CAD, right? It's kind of how I'm feeling. Except for the fact that also you would want, like, the enclosure to kind of be smooth where your fingers are going to interact with in, like, this area, right? All of this needs to be smooth so that my fingers can roll up and down it. How do I fucking clear these annotations again? Fuck. Annotations. Here. Delete. Nice. So I guess we do need to model this here, and we need to model it as a whole. So we start maybe with how we want... We start with where we want our fingers. Then just make the hole in the outside body so that we have a spot to put the part that's actually going to do the button pressing in CAD land? Maybe? Seems kind of reasonable. You can tell I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Okay. So that means that, like, we were kind of on the right track before with, like, extruding a segment down here, I think. And we just kind of want to match kind of the feel, the shape of this guy. Where the fuck am I? Upside down here. Yeah, so I guess we kind of would just want to bottom. Yeah, we're bottom. Okay. Okay. So the back side of this does not matter other than the fact that we need our, like, finger holes here. Integrating this button mesh into the body might bite you later. Maybe a separate mesh. But I think that I need it to be on the same mesh to get this, like, a smooth transition on the back. You know, like, if I want, like, this curve, then I think it has to be on the same mesh. You know what I mean? Because I agree, I would not really want this to be the same. But if I want this to have like a housing like kind of like this, then this needs to be the same mesh for this to like integrate smoothly, is what I was thinking. Right, I think I'll cut a hole out here for the trigger. But yeah, we'll see. And then when I hold this thing, do I care if it's slanted or not? I think like normal controllers, they're pretty stuck out. But here, I think my fingers are kind of naturally like kind of wrapping in, you know what I mean? But maybe it's fine. Like, do I care? Is there a difference in feel if it's like this versus like this? Like, any angle here is probably fine. It just needs to be like wherever I'm placing these knuckles, I can rotate around that okay. I also know I have a tendency on the real Xbox controller, like when I wrap my hand up, it means that like my hand placement on these triggers is really fucked up. Right? Like this is kind of weird compared to this. And maybe that's... So maybe it's fine. Maybe there's a lot of wiggle room here. I think probably the skinny triggers for the back ones is probably doing a lot of work there as well. Right? Like I probably actually don't need this to come all the way into the left side here. Right? It's probably fine for it to just be out here. Because like when I hold this guy, the part that's doing the trigger pressing is like this part of the knuckle, which is like out here in the clay model. So maybe we undo some of these changes and we only extrude like kind of one end of it. Maybe. I don't fucking know, man. Oopsies. Right, like we could maybe get away with like only extruding out a small section like this. Okay. What am I doing here? Dude, I have no fucking idea. So I think like maybe this stuff comes like here. Then we just have to be a little bit conscious of where... Is this the right thing? Yeah, it is. How this matches up with this guy. What the fuck is going on here? How the fuck? You can toggle this with a keybind? Alt-Shift-Z. I've never pressed that in my life. That's annoying. It's like, I wonder if you could get away with like something like that-ish. That's not like fat enough. We need like edge crease on these probably. Right, we kind of want like a flat surface for the trigger to poke out of. Kind of like this almost, right? And then this thing, probably we need to design, we need to like make this shape in a way that it makes sense for the trigger. Like this, it looks fucking stupid. I think we probably want like some sort of like flatness along, you know, I don't know. But we probably want like flatness this way so that this whole thing can be kind of flat. And then can we kind of just bring this whole thing... Something about this feels weird. I wonder if it's that there's like not enough mesh for this, or like the way it's twisting maybe. Yeah, something about this feels fucking strange. This is too creased, I think, as well. I think I want this one to be really creased. And then these ones to be kind of soft-ish. Maybe it's just that like I kind of feel like all of this stuff should be coming out over here. Yeah, maybe that just looks a lot less weird. And then I kind of feel like this stuff should come back. You know, I don't know, something like that. That looks weird. What does like the real Xbox controller look like? He's like way out to the left here. But it's actually not that different, actually. And we're also out to the left here on our model. So I guess we should just bring out everything left here. Oops. Right, if we just like kind of slide all of this over, maybe that's the play. And then just kind of clean up these lines a little bit so that everything kind of flows better. You know, something like that. It still looks so fucking weird, but maybe it's fine. Also, we might have to inset all of this back so like the button has room to stick out. But I also want hair triggers, so maybe it's like not that big a deal. Maybe. We can extend a little farther down if we want, but we also don't have to. Yeah, I mean, that kind of matches up with where the thing is on my model, so maybe that's fine. This is gonna look so cooked at the end. It's gonna be crazy. But also, like, if it looks kind of fucked up, it's kind of funnier. Right? So there's something to that. Okay, what about, like, top bumper? How do the bumpers look on this guy? They kind of So when I, like, rotate my hand over to press these, I'm definitely leveraging the fact that the button is, like, it has a lot of width to it, right? I'm definitely using that fact. So I almost want like the bumper to be here. Yeah. So all of the controllers I've used before, they kind of rotate like this way. So they kind of like put an axis here or like a rotation point here. And then the button's like over here somewhere, right? And it kind of presses here. I think that it's not crazy if it works for mine to rotate the other way, right? So like button here and then rotation point here, and I rotate like this way, you know? Because this bumper, I always break these. Like these bumpers are like probably the thing that breaks most on my controllers, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is why. If like where I'm pressing on the bumper does not line up with the button very well, and so like I'm putting a lot of pressure on the plastic in order to press the button. You know what I mean? I think that could explain especially why it's always my right bumper. And I don't see any reason why doing it the other way would be a problem. Like, I guess maybe you would like accidentally press it more. If like the weight of your finger by itself would press the button automatically. But maybe it's fine. And then like inside, how does that mechanism work? So like inside you like have like some hooks. You probably have like a hook here, the piece kind of sits in there, and then is just like an extruded piece of plastic that I guess kind of comes out the back of the controller like this. And then you just have like a button here that this thing slams into. Fuck it, I guess. That all seems reasonable, says the guy who knows nothing about hardware design. uh yeah, I mean all of that feels reasonable to me. Okay. So I didn't actually mark where my finger lands on this thing, but holding it in my hand, I think it's like I'm my where I would naturally press the bumper is lining up kind of here. So maybe we mark that somehow. Oopsies. Maybe we mark that. Oopsies. Mesh sphere. Fuck it. I kind of want to press around here. I don't know your fingers, but that placement seems super odd to me. Yeah, I mean I can show. Let's go full screen. You know, it's like I've like got my hand. It's so hard to get on the camera, right? It's like right here, boom, 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 which it is where I've marked. I know that, but I think that the way I hold the controllers is like super fucked, which makes this whole process more fun because we can just design something that fits the way I fucking weirdly hold these things. Okay. So this could kind of sit somewhere like this. And so I guess that means we just cut a hole in the enclosure here, right? I think. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? We just like take this guy and we give him a little bit more detail in this area for us to cut. Or maybe we apply the subdivision. Maybe we do that last. I think we do the other trigger first so that we can apply the subdivision, then cut some shit out. Are you familiar with mold tooling? Is this going to be a 3D print? No and yes. Let's be clear, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But I do want to print this thing eventually. So maybe we just do the other trigger first, and then do the bumpers after. That feels reasonable to me. Okay. Oh, we also have to figure out the paddles. Right. Bumpers and paddles, then triggers and paddles, then bumpers. Okay, so on the left hand, it's the same deal where it's really the left edge of this thing that's important. Resin or filament printer? Dude, I don't know. What did I buy? I think I bought a filament printer. I've never printed anything in my fucking life. I don't know what I'm doing. It's likely the whole thing will fall apart, which is part of the fun. You're witnessing me in real time just YOLO part design and then regret it later. But this is the way I've always said that, like, fucking shit up is the best way, in my opinion, to learn. That's my excuse for being shit at stuff. Do I even care if these are like symmetrical? Probably not. I probably don't care that much. But I think I probably do still. I want to apply some of the same concepts here where we kind of creased these bad boys, I think. And then I think we creased these edges less. Kind of like this. And then I think that we wanted this thing to kind of be... It looks like it's too skinny in my books. So can we just like kind of, I don't know, fatten that fucker up? Ideally, that seems far down and skinny. I don't actually know if I think so. Comparing with this model, it's pretty similar. You know, like the real Xbox controller, it is relatively skinny and it drops down about this far. And if you match with what I clay modeled, it's like all of this stuff on the right here doesn't matter because I'm pressing the button with this part of my finger and all of this stuff over here was kind of like this part of my finger, you know? So I think it's probably fine to some extent. I feel kind of like this stuff should all come back. You know, kind of like this way. Kind of like... And then on this side, we kind of let the bottom kind of come back a little bit, which maybe it doesn't really matter, but for symmetry. Where'd you get the model for the real controller? This one? I just like Googled like Xbox controller CAD, I think. I don't know. I found it somewhere. I haven't really checked that it's accurate, but it looks kind of hand wavy about right to me, so I'm not too worried because I don't really care. Just generally. Close enough, yeah. That's my motto, dude. The whole thing looks so fucked. Okay. Paddles. Button should probably be rotated a bit. This one. Oh yeah, I kind of want this whole crease to be less, to be honest. Like, kind of like that. That feels good to me. I think. Maybe this whole thing can be a little fatter, to be honest. Oopsies. Fuck. Fuck. There you go. What am I doing, dude? Nope. There we go. Sure. Can you take the paddles and pieces off the imported CAD? I assume that whoever modeled this thing didn't do that. Yeah, like they just kind of modeled it like for the outside, right? But also I don't know if I want to. I'm kind of okay with fucking up my own part design. I think that's part of the fun. Is figuring out how like the button mechanisms and stuff is gonna work. That's just part of the entertainment. Okay. So back paddles, my idea for how these paddles are gonna work is like completely different from every controller I've seen in my life, right? I ended up with this like ribbed shit where I want to press this way. I want to press right here and right here. Right? Which is different than anything I've seen before. The Xbox Elite Series 2 has like paddles here that you press down on into the controller this way. And then the GameSir controller that I have, it's kind of like in here. Right? And I didn't really like the Elite Series 2 felt okay. The GameSir definitely feels shit to me, especially on the right hand. So I'm kind of down to just kind of wing it, see how it feels, and then, you know, if it feels like shit, it feels like shit. So the important pieces are like here, I guess. So do we have the resolution there that we want? Yeah, about, right? We can just kind of Oh, extrude. There we go. Let's get this out of the way. No, I think it's actually we want this one too. I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with Blender, but if I recall correctly, the best way would be applying some mirror modifier for the bottom part. I think I could be wrong here, but I think that it's asymmetrical. Like, it doesn't look super asymmetrical when I look at it, but it definitely felt asymmetrical when I was making it. Because my placement of my right and left hands are very different on the controller. So where the ribs would end up, I think, ends up being differently. I'm not sure. But I'm okay with, doing it this way. I get where you're coming from. There is reason why what you're saying makes sense. But, whatever. The rules, we get to make up our own rules. Both paddles and buttons can work. Paddles are easier to break. I think that I want something that's similar to the trigger mechanism. I think what's going to end up happening... So I think what was going to end up happening is we're going to have like some PCB. Fuck. Right? Who's like he's going to go kind of like this, right? He's going to sit in the base, right? And he's going to have like buttons on the top. And then like the stick goes here, right? And all of this is just like one flat board. And so I think what happens is the top paddle, I think is going to have a button that kind of sits here and points this way and is like soldered on here. And then I think all of the trigger buttons just go on the back of this, right? So I think like you have like from the back view of the same thing, you're just going to have like trigger, paddle, or whatever. And so that means that we need some mechanism to push up on the back of the thing, right? Like push, I guess in this view, it's like this way, right? The PCB is going to be like, he's going to be like in here somewhere. And so we need to like press this way with my finger and push this way on the board is kind of what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. So I think that what's going to happen here is I placed the button that I want to press here on the tip of my finger. Maybe it doesn't need to be there. In fact, maybe it shouldn't be there. Feeling the controller, I think the tip of my finger has less strength than maybe like here. This might be a better placement for the thing. I guess we need to stay at that angle because... right, so that might be a better placement. Just feeling it out. Sorry, I know you're just staring at me. You can't see, and nothing is even moving. I'm just holding my hand on the controller and like feeling where the pressure points could be with the controller like positioned in my lap how I would normally hold it. Pinkies are going to be hard to press in general because my pinkies are weak. In fact, the whole reason I'm playing Fortnite on a controller at all is because I fucked up my wrists using the tab key too much years ago playing Fortnite again. Yeah, okay. I think I want the button to be here. And then that kind of means that I don't know if like this whole section even has to exist. Really? I think this stuff is all nice for like kind of letting my hands slide into where they need to be. This kind of like guides, like this channel here guides my finger into the right spot, which is kind of nice. So I think we keep this extrusion here. Maybe we ditch this part, and then we need like some sort of trigger mechanism here to press on the bottom of the board. That's kind of how it's feeling to me right now. which means, okay, back to modeling. So that means that like all of this stuff kind of comes, oopsies. Like this shape is important here. This shape on the back doesn't really matter that much, except for it needs to have room for my pinky to slide in there. But other than that, and it needs to have room for like the trigger mechanism, but other than that, it doesn't really matter. So I kind of suspect that if I kind of bring this stuff up here, that's fine, right? That's my expectation. And then here, we got to figure out where the trigger's going to go. So if we kind of like match this guy, it kind of means that like maybe this gets extruded more to give more space for whatever like rotating mechanism there is. I guess we also have to figure out where the PCB is going to be. I assume the PCB is going to be pretty close to the front of the controller, right? So that the buttons can kind of sit here and they don't have to travel too far. But it looks like we kind of have a lot of wiggle room vertically. Like, if the buttons just kind of push on something, you could just like make the buttons taller and it doesn't really matter. So we have a lot of wiggle room vertically for where the PCB is going to be placed, which means that we probably have a lot of room like in here to put some sort of like rotation mechanism. I think that we're going to have space for that. So my gut says, you know, part of me is like, maybe I should have modeled this better. The only thing that this nub is for my finger to rest on. That's kind of all it's for. So I guess that's fine. I think that is fine. All right. So this guy now needs to kind of get the trigger treatment, I guess. That's interesting. I guess that means that probably these guys kind of come back a little bit. Right? We probably want this surface to be kind of parallel with the trigger surface. Probably. And then we want to make sure that the trigger cut off in 3, 2. Oh, you're talking about the song? Or you're talking about my beer? No more beer for me. Not allowed. Yeah, and I guess like if this is enough room, this is pretty much enough room. Maybe we kind of bring these guys up a little bit. Talking about the absolute banger. Dude, yeah, I know, right? Absolute banger. Right? Like maybe that's kind of fine. Assuming that this is fine, which we don't actually know, right? We're kind of just eyeballing. But maybe it's cool. And then pinky placement here. This pinky, I want like a bumper here, kind of in the same sitch, right? So I've got my hand in like this. I'm pressing this bumper this way, this bumper this way. God damn it! The fucking the sticks keep falling out because there's nothing holding them in, and I have to crawl under my desk to get them. One sec. All right. So I think that this is kind of the same situation as the other guy, where I kind of placed the button here under the assumption that I'd be pressing it with the tip of my pinky. But I think again, the knuckle back is way stronger. So I think again, I want the trigger to be here. Maybe a little angled down based off of how my fingers are sitting in here, right? Like angled back a little bit. But not necessarily that far. We have enough room to comfortably press the ring finger triggers. Well, I think that like they're going. I think the movement on the triggers is probably going to be like a couple millimeters, right? Like I don't want analog triggers here. I only need to have like there just needs to be enough room in here for my finger to like sit comfortably. You know what I mean? Which I think this looks fine. Actually, I guess like maybe these lines should be kind of creased a little bit less. Oh, I guess you kind of need them to be creased though because this face needs to be flat. I don't know. Fuck it, we'll figure it out. I'm mostly more worried about like if there's room for like whatever mechanical thing needs to happen in here for a trigger to like exist. All right. Do I have the resolution here for what I want to do? No. No, I do not. Can we turn off the fucking subdivision for a second? Oh, interesting. The way that this is supposed to come up doesn't like match any of the lines very well. Which maybe we can fix. Yeah, because the flow of all of these guys goes like around this edge, and we almost want something that comes up this way, which doesn't really fit well. I guess if we put a line here, does that help? Not sure. Not sure. I guess we do this. Do. And then maybe we do this as well. And then this can kind of like come out like this. Maybe? Maybe something like that? Oh, none of that fits right. Maybe we need to do some of those like topology tricks to reflow this thing. So what do we want to do? We want to like turn. We need to turn this line so that it comes this way. Fuck. Which means that you have to like cut this square up somehow. I think. Isn't there a thing about never having 5-gons? Yeah, so because of the fact that we're subdividing this thing, we want quads everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter too much because it's not like the real problem when you have something like really fucked up, like when you have like triangles and stuff, is that you end up with like bad shading, is my recollection. So since we're modeling, it probably doesn't matter too much if we end up with like some triangles. But I think like the subdivision just like completely gets degenerate as fuck if you start having like 20 side faces and stuff. So maybe this is just an artifact of me modeling this thing in a stupid way, but you know, whatever. Yeah, this is really fucking stupid. Whatever is going on here. So like what is ideal here? Like this kind of comes up like this and then rotates up this way or something. And it's been a long time since I've thought about retopology, so I need to think. I can't remember what the tricks are. I think it's something like you end up with like a shape where you end up with like quad, 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 and then this flows this way. Yeah, that sounds right. So how do we apply that concept here? We save, delete the face, or maybe we... Yeah, how are you supposed to do that? I think you use the cut tool is the way you're supposed to do this. So you like take out the knife and you kind of do this. And then you do this. And now everything's still quads, but now it flows differently. Oopsies. So now if I like... That did something. Let's just kind of move these vertices around until it starts to look kind of reasonable. I think this is not where I wanted the cut. What am I even trying to make here? I'm trying to make this line. Which means that I need something like, can we just do this so I don't forget? We want something that kind of pops out this way. God, my life is hard. Some of the neighboring edges aren't quads now, top and left. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. So how do you fix that? You need to like extend this. You like do the trick again? Is that what it is? Hold on. Is it like you do this? Now this is not for? Yeah. So you have to you have to do it twice. I would take away verts, not add them via cutting. Yeah, maybe. I always struggle. I never was very good at this part, which is annoying because now it's relevant. What if we just didn't do this? Hear me out. Hear me out. No. There's no way to manipulate this in the way that I want, I don't think. Ugh. I guess if you kind of did this, then maybe? Oh, there's also some of these, like, you can, like, remove lines by doing something like, how do you do this? Hold on. Retopology tricks. I also don't really know what your goal is. I also don't know what my goal is. 5, like 3 to 2 or something. How the fuck? Yeah, this is the picture I always look at. Look at this picture. Perfect. So there's ways to like reduce. Yeah, sorry, I also don't know what I'm trying to do, to be honest. I'm just trying to extrude something here. That's all I want, really. I wonder if it's like... Wait. That's starting to look kind of like the shape I want. Yeah, just fuck it. Here we go. Maybe. Maybe? No, because again, these lines are just going the wrong fucking direction, dude. How do you plan to manufacture it? I think eventually I'm just going to 3D print it. I believe you want this. What do the lines mean here? So I'm adding a cut. You're saying like red is dissolve. So that line goes away, and then I have a new line from here to here. And this is quad. So you're saying like, oh, I've fucked this up somewhere. Can I X dissolve vertices? I hope that didn't fuck anything up too much. So you're saying I cut here. And then then this edge can be dissolve edges. And then you're saying I can dissolve all of these as well. Oh yeah, that does kind of make this shape work a little bit more like what I want. So then I would just like loop cut here and dissolve the edge, and then here. Oh wait. Then this also needs to dissolve. I guess we can do like merge at center or something. No, I don't know. Nothing really feels like what I want because I'm shit at modeling. Fuck it. You get that L shape the entire loop, but I also don't know what the back of your model looks like. Yeah. Me neither, man. Actually, this looks kind of like shit. Why does this look like this? This looks so fucking weird. You might have to mirror it on the bottom. Yeah, makes sense. Can I just... I just want to cheat. Why is that so hard? Like, can I get what I want out of these geometries? Surely, right? Surely. Is this thing on a plane? It is. Right, like, surely I can do something like this to get what I want, right? Oopsies, what did I fucking just press? There we go. Surely. Surely. Yeah, there we go. Just fucking cheat. This is a bad model, but it also doesn't matter probably for 3D printing that much. I don't think. Yeah, we can make that work. Right? Then we're just like this? Maybe more like, oopsies. The fuck did I just do? Whoa, what the fuck happened here? Did I accidentally join all these faces together like a dumbass? I did. Like, it's almost like I want... If this guy comes in, like, here... Is that kind of right? That's kind of right. Like, just fuck it. Don't Call Me Shirley Classic. Yeah, we can make that work. We can make that work. It's not great, but it's good enough. Okay. So now we just gotta figure out how we're gonna get the fucking bumper in there. So it's... It's kind of like here is where I want it. Okay. We can make this work. We can make this work. um... Yeah, maybe something like this. Okay, then for the trigger, this is all really small. I feel like... Okay, where's like the actual thing again? Here. So let me like figure out how my placement, my finger placement is in here. It just needs to be like, you know, if this thing's like slanted, if this thing was farther down, it just means that my finger is gonna spread out a little bit. But even like no matter where we place this thing. Oh wait, this is left? This is my left hand? This is. We're working on the left hand, which means it's this guy. And if this guy had to come up, that'd be fine. If he had to go down, he couldn't really go down much farther, I think, comfortably. But again, like all of this is really like this whole thing. Like when I'm talking like move down, I'm talking move down by like a lot, right? Like a few millimeters anywhere is not going to make a big difference. I don't think. I think this is all like general placement shit. So I suspect this is okay. We just need the shape of it to match my pinky. Like, I think it needs to curve kind of down a little bit. So we can kind of like just bring this stuff in a little bit, I think. And as long as we're, yeah, I think that's fine. And then we just need to make sure that like everything, if we think that this is the amount of space we want for a trigger, that means that like this whole area needs to come up some, right? And then we need the area for the trigger. So I think that's kind of here. So I think we kind of like extrude this stuff farther. And then we want to make sure that like the back kind of has room for whatever the mechanism is that's doing the rotation. Why is this? This seems weird. Like, why are we not aligned correctly? Okay. Cool. Now this is obviously all way too high now. Just kind of bring this down. I guess all of this can be a little smaller because it is the pinky. I think this stuff all feels like it's too far forward. Like we can make some more room here. Like we don't need this much space, surely, right? So we can kind of just bring everything in this way. Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe we bring this stuff back to make room for my ring finger here. I mean, it is where my fingers said they would go, so I guess it's fine. Fuck it. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. It seems a little fucking whack. I think this needs to be kind of curved a little more. Just so that, like, everything feels a little more natural. And then the question is if this is tall enough. I mean, it's taller than the scan. So my gut says it's fine. We're gonna have to do some like placement of buttons in here to kind of feel out how big everything is. But I think that's okay for like stage 0. All right, let's try to give the other side the same treatment before I lose my fucking mind. Okay, so here we're looking for kind of like this area ish. Maybe one more. No, I don't think so. We'll just kind of rearrange these guys so it makes sense. Okay. So these kind of come over here. These kind of come over here. This comes like this. This comes like something like this. Maybe that's fine. Sure, and then we want... I mean, on this side, it's kind of like slanted up. On this side, it's not. But is that because of like how my fingers are placed in here? Let me like... Is that kind of symmetrical? I can't tell. Maybe it's fine. Maybe we should try to like add some symmetry to this. I also kind of feel like all of this is like too... Like the transition is a little aggressive. You know what I mean? Kind of feel like all of this stuff should kind of curl in a little bit more. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Um. Oops. What the fuck have I done? Undo all this. Something about that does not feel right. I guess it's because like all of this feels fucking weird too. Yeah, it's just that this edge is too sharp. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. All right. I guess all of these guys come out a little bit. Then, like, same goes for these bad boys. Okay. How does this match up with our expectations? That looks great. Let's make sure that my placement here is right. So I marked here. We want to be a little bit over. So we want to be like here, which I think that lines up with. Now we just need this stuff to be thick enough and kind of round it out the right way. So I guess we do this. Uh-huh. Yeah. Fuck it, I guess. This kind of looks funny like this. Can we do this so that it looks like less fucked up? All right, so we kind of have him rotate. Yeah, and then we do the same thing over here. And then my gut says this whole stuff all comes like shorter. Yeah, just to give my pinky some more room. As long as there's enough room for the what's it called? The trigger mechanism? I kind of feel like this stuff could come up like this. Oopsies. All of this feels too tall as well, to be honest. I guess the height is a little important. I guess for my pinky or for my ring finger to slot into the slot correctly. It doesn't need to be that raised though. I think it's more like the trigger thing here feels like comically large. There we go. That looks a little better. And then kind of here as well. I kind of feel like all of these guys on the right side come down. Oops. Oops. That feels a little better. Yeah, fuck it. Okay, then the last piece is the pinky trigger on the right hand. The whole kind of right hand area looks kind of fucked here. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's way more like round in the scan. Also, I'm not really sure the scan is good, to be honest, here. I don't really think this is right. Like, this is supposed to be a channel for my pinky. Oh no, it is right, actually. Interestingly, the channel starts here for the pinky. That's interesting. Although it doesn't matter, probably. If that wasn't there, it's not like it's a problem. I don't think. Okay, and then what about like the rest of this stuff? I think it's fine. I think this needs to be a little more round. is kind of what my gut says. But my palm, oh, right, again, I keep forgetting that on this right side, it literally doesn't matter. Because here, the reason that this needs to be a curved surface is for my left palm to kind of like sit on here. Sorry, I can't really see the camera. Right? But on this hand, it's my palm doesn't touch because of the way I hold the controller like this. Right? It's like there's like a big gap there. So as long as the bottom is, I guess I'm like all of these fingers are supporting in a way where it's got to be curved-ish on the bottom. So I guess what's most important is that like all of these guys are kind of like up to give a little bit more curve. But then none of these really matter. But we can just curve them to match, I guess. Right, there we go. Give it like a little bit more. And then where does the pinky go? Kind of like here. Okay. Um It's kind of like this, I think. Almost feels like that. Right? Like almost like this gets extruded. Right? Am I crazy? It's close. You know, if this stuff kind of comes up more like, oopsies, like this, then maybe. I'm not confident about this side, but maybe. My pad is missing a leg. What happened? It's intentional. It's because the way I hold the right side, I don't ever rest my palm on that thing, and I think the asymmetry is like a little bit funny as well. Surely, like, we need more space for the pinky here, right? Surely. So maybe like this. And then I would love for this kind of whole area to feel a little bit more rounded. Maybe kind of like that. How does that compare with the original? This part here is important because I do rest there a little bit, like with this part of my hand. So the fact that we're missing, if we're missing too much there, it's a problem. But up at the top, it's fine, right? So it's just at the back, which I think is not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. Why is all of this one face? What did I do? I must have pressed a button by mistake. God damn it. Oh my god, that's so fucking annoying. I guess we have to just cut all of these again. I don't know how the fuck I managed that. I guess I pressed J by mistake. All right, is that better? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. Okay, so where... Oh, this just looks like shit. It's so hard to... Okay, so it's probably like something like here, to be honest. I think this is the trigger mechanism on this guy. Dude, it looks so gimped up, dude. That's so funny. This is like, what are we doing? This needs to come in. Dude, what are we doing? I guess like we might as well just extrude that part too. Right? Like kind of just extrude all of these. There, that looks a less fucking stupid. And then this is where the trigger goes in here, which is a little funny. I think probably all of this is like comes in, you know? Like it feels like all of this stuff. Oopsies. Like in all of this. Oops. I feel like it all just kind of rotates around the cursor here. You know? Something like that. And then this is here just to guide the pinky in. I think. This being raised looks a little bad. I feel like, oopsies. I feel like this comes down a little bit. And then I wonder if like this is gonna feel too harsh. You know what I mean? Like if these like come up a little bit, then this is kind of like a nicer, smoother area for my thingy. Kind of like overall, I wonder if these channels should be a little bit more smooth the fuck out. You know, this is just kind of like this. I wonder if that feels a little better. Okay. So now this is our trigger area. So it means that like this gets the bevel treatment. Probably. How does this compare to what we had here? The whole, I think that this feels maybe a little bad. What about on this side? See, this side we kind of like came back from the pinky tip shit. Here we're very much still on it, which means that I think that this whole section is kind of wrong. I think this should have been extruded here. Yeah, it needs to come back. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Boom. Boom. Let's bring these guys back the way they're supposed to be. Okay, and it was that we wanted to kind of extrude this side a little more, I think. All right. There we go. And then like kind of like this. And then we need to compare again. So we want the trigger to be like here. So this can kind of come out this way to try to make a flat face here. And then we extrude this. Yeah, there, that feels a little bit more. Maybe like this. And then we kind of bring like these vertices out here, kind of. You know, kind of like this. This feels like ridiculous. This whole thing looks stupid. And then, like, are we going to regret the fact that these guys are not... Like, I wonder if we need to design it in a way where the triggers are not unique. You know what I mean? Like, if all of these kind of are the same, then we don't have to, like, figure out which one goes in which slot. But maybe that's fine. This is ridiculous. Surely, like, these can come down, right? Surely. Surely the pinky ones do not need to be as big. I don't know what I'm basing this off of. It just feels stupid the way it looked before. This thing also, like, the rotation in here is gonna be kind of fucking weird. This needs to be, like, more rounded out. Kind of like on the axis that this guy's going to be rotating, no? Maybe that's fine. I think it's just like an artifact of the way that the, like, the shit is flying. I don't know, man. Everything looks stupid. Oopsies. Maybe that's fine. I suspect that this all needs to be a little bit more smooth. You know, kind of like all of this area where my fingers are going to be sliding over the edge. Just needs to kind of be a little bit more rounded out. I don't really know what I want. I guess maybe like this is kind of what I want. We'll have to experiment with how that feels, but maybe that's okay. Can we compare this with our scan? I mean, it's not crazy. Definitely not crazy. All right. I don't know, man. Is that crazy? I think it's fine. This is weird. This doesn't feel right. Right, there's no way that this is supposed to extrude this much. Oopsies. There's just no way. And then, like, this looks fucking weird as well. This looks so fucking weird. Sure. As a control, it looks wild, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, I'm kind of on that side as well. Alright. I think this, again, feels kind of weird. But it's like a nice guide for the finger, so maybe it does want to be there. I guess it's going to be hard to know until we do our first print how it feels. Because we have made like a lot of changes from what I modeled in clay. So I wonder if it makes sense that before doing like electronics and stuff, and like even like trigger mechanisms and stuff, printing this and seeing how it feels in my hand is probably... It probably makes sense to do that before we start doing like mechanical stuff. This looks too small for my pinky. We're just going off vibes now. Fuck it. Oh my god. Please let me select the vertices I'm trying to select. This one and this one. There we go. Like, it just kind of feels like this should kind of be a little bit up. This is weird here. What the fuck is going on there? There we go. Is that a little better? I think that's a little better. We're vibe modeling now? Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to do the insides until I know if these locations feel right. I wonder, all of this feels like it might want to be pulled in a little bit, but... Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. I guess in order to get the feel, we should at least print the locations. We should like cut the locations of the front faces before we print as well. Which I said I wanted to do in CAD earlier. But maybe that's... Why is this so creased? I guess it's fine, who cares? But it does seem kind of weird. Oh, I guess probably so that we can get the D-pad buttons on the flat face here. This could all probably come in, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, fuck it. I mean, whatever. I think I'm gonna leave it like this for now. Just because I'm like really unsure about this. But I mean, it kind of matches what I made out of clay. Just the only difference is that I've given a little extra space in these trigger areas for more plastic or whatever. Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. All right. I don't think there's anything else I really want to do now. So I think I'll call it there for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys had fun. This is kind of like an odd stream, but sometimes it just goes that way. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 Pacific time. It is 3 Pacific time now, which is due to the odd schedule. So 2.5 hours ago to an hour ago to an hour from now is when you should expect to see us live. We're kind of on this saga to create an Xbox controller from scratch. You know, we've got a little bit of a design. Next up, we have to do like some firmware work still. We've been working on like adding USB to the Raspberry Pi Pico. We've got some circuit board design to do, some mechanical design to do. So we'll kind of hit all of that soon. So swing back by if you want to see that. YouTube, peace out, and Twitch, let's find someone to raid.